Good afternoon. I wanted to talk about a very cool tree today. It's a tree that is a native to the Amazon rainforest. It does very well here in Central California, particularly with our summer. When it comes to winter, it can struggle a bit, but after a couple of years of struggling, it eventually learns to adapt, and winter then becomes a non-issue for it. And that would be the Inga, also commonly known as the ice cream bean tree. So it actually would be this tree right here. Right now it is approaching about 15, 16 feet high. Believe it or not, it's only 3 years old. And in many ways, it's really not 3 years old. What I mean by that is there is a history with this particular tree. So we first planted it in the ground back in spring of 2018. First winter hit, it really basically died down to the ground. And then a couple months later, well, after it died down to the ground, we dug it up, put it in a container to heal it up. A couple months later, it started bouncing back up. And then, during the growing season in summer of that year, it approached about 4 feet tall. Put it in the ground again the following year. Also, winter came, knocked it down. So it's basically having to start from beginning again. But here's the cool thing though. Year after year after year of winterizing it basically acclimated to the cold. In fact, this year alone, 2021, it got no problem at all with the winter. I mean, if you come closer, it is, the trunk itself, it is like massive. I mean, again, this is, in many ways, is just like maybe a year or two old. I mean, if you don't consider it being knocked down and having to start from scratch. But this tree is approaching 3 years old. The cool thing about the Inga is it is nitrogen fixing, which means I don't ever have to provide it with nitrogen. In fact, as the leaves fall, as the old leaves dry out and fall, this is all nitrogen. It improves the surrounding area for the other trees. Makes an excellent shade tree. The tree itself produces these pods that are about maybe a foot long. Inside the pods are edible fillings. The taste is compared to cotton candy with slight vanilla flavors. So specific to this tree, I wanted to show you. This is the first year that it began to flower. In fact, if you come closer, I will show you the flower. It is just a very awesome tree to have in the Central Valley. So here it is. Check it out, that little guy right there. That is the start of a very good year. Well, next to that grasshopper, which I will have to kill, unfortunately. But that is the flower. The tree itself is phenomenal looking. I mean, no problem at all. So that is the Inga. Very fast grower. I will say though, as with many of the fast-growing tropical trees, well, any fast-growing trees in general, structurally it needs a lot of support, which is why I've got the supporting structures here, just because it is so fast-growing that the branches have a tendency to just go all over the place and usually becomes top-heavy and breaks. So that's why it needs a lot of structural support. But very proud of this particular tree. Also, another thing I will say with fast-growing trees in general is the root systems are massive. I mean, this Inga next to this Jamun / Duhat tree, both of these are crazy fast growers. They're both reaching about the same height, 15 feet or so. The root systems, you do not want to put it next to your property. It will destroy the structure of your house, the foundation that is, which is why we've got it right here in the middle of the yard, allowing the roots to expand and absorb nutrients basically in the middle of the yard. So that is one tip I will give you when it comes to these fast-growing trees is get it away from your property. Give them plenty of room. These trees will do well in containers. They are not going to ever reach their full potential. I mean, the second that I put these guys in the ground, it just really exploded in growth. Whereas, and I'll show you, but I have a couple of other ones that were in containers. They did okay, but once you put them in the ground, mycorrhizal network kicks in, it just explodes in growth. So I'm going to take you to the front where I've got a few more. So here's the front. So because the one in the back did so well, we decided to, we had 4 palm trees here. We took them out and decided to plant something that will do 2 things. Number 1, will feed us. And number 2, more importantly, will provide some shade for our cars that, should we want to park on the street. So both of these are Ingas that we've put in the ground. Just a year ago, in May, this particular guy was literally about this high. And same with this particular guy too. I mean, it was about maybe 6 inches tall. This is really just 1 year's worth of growth. Both of these were in containers in my unheated greenhouse, so they've gone through a year of winter. Again, unheated greenhouse, so they did great. So again, just emphasis on structural support. They really will need the structural support. Normally, I don't plant trees in the middle of summer when it's 100 degrees, but knowing that these are Ingas, they do really well in our summer. I mean, seriously, the more heat, the better. And because these are in the southern facing, winter time is really not going to be an issue, even though there's really no microclimate happening here. I mean, as soon as the sun comes up, it's going to start warming things up. So in many ways, I have a feeling that both of these Inga trees will do a lot better than the one back there. Again, as you can see, I mean, even though it doesn't look like there's a lot of dirt here for the roots to expand, the roots will go really deep, and both of these should do really well here. So anyhow, just Inga is, again, just one of those trees that native to the Amazon does really well here, surprisingly. So, all right, have a good afternoon.